Hi everyone, Rebecca here with some more reviews, previews, and things you can use for teaching ESL online or for learning ESL online if you are self-studying. So, okay guys, I'm going to get right into it. Today's review is on Epic. Okay, so here we go. Um, Whoops, there we go. Okay, so today's review is on Epic. Okay. Um, so I noticed I got right into the price, but probably before I get into the price, I should tell you guys, um, this is an ebook site. But as I mentioned in bullet point two, the second bullet point down, there are over 40,000 titles with videos, audiobooks, and ebooks within that 40,000. So to me, Epic started as mainly an ebook website, and I used it, with my own children. And at the time Epic came out, I was teaching English on a platform that provided the materials. I know now I'm in I do work for a company still, but it's more like an English teaching marketplace, or really language teaching marketplace. They don't just offer English. And by that, I mean we get trial students, and it's pretty much our job to provide the curriculum. So when Epic first came out, they were a nice site, but they didn't have nearly what they have now. And some of the videos I have actually used in class because they are like kid songs. Um, they have like a book on like, this is the way I brush my teeth, brush my teeth. So when I was doing, for example, a lesson on daily routines, I did use that song. And I will say this about the videos. I wouldn't necessarily get this service or subscribe to this website for the videos, because to me, the videos seem like things you might be able to get somewhere else. I'm pretty sure the video I used was actually like a super simple songs video um, that you can just go to, and maybe that's a good site to do for my next review would be super simple learning because there's a lot on there. But anyway, I'm trying not to ramble. They have videos, audiobooks, and ebooks, but I would say if you subscribe to this site, it's really going to be for the ebooks. If your own kids like audiobooks, then that's a little bonus for you because they do have some good books on audiobook. Um, okay, so back to the price. Okay, so they have kind of in their banner, get started reading for free. And I tried to really find out what that was about. I know when I first got on Epic, I think it's so long ago that I don't quite remember, but I know I started for free. It was something they were advertising on like the back of kids cereal and everything like that. So I got on the website, and I did end up purchasing a subscription even back then after a little while. I think maybe I ran into the limits of how much we were able to read. However, now it doesn't really seem like you get a free subscription. It seems like when they say free, they're more talking about a free trial. Um, but that's not bad because here's the deal with that. If you get a free trial and you figure out, how much am I really going to use this website, and you figure out, oh, I'm going to use it a lot, then you could get the yearly subscription and really save for $79.99, or you could just stick with the monthly, which is $11.99 right now. And honestly, it's a little bit expensive because I pay $7.99 a month. I think I might have been like grandfathered in to some kind of rate. And so I'm a little confused about that. But I guess point blank, period, if you want a subscription right now today and you want to sign up, it's $11.99 per month. Okay, I just wanted to mention one of the drawbacks is with all these titles, it gets a bit difficult to navigate. Also, there's an educator um, subscription, to Epic, an educator subscription option. I have not looked into that. And I have looked into educator subscriptions on other websites. I've actually bought one and then tried to use it and couldn't. And I found out they just canceled my subscription and refunded my money because looking through my information, I'm not part of a school. So for Epic, I've got to be honest with you, that is an option, but I don't know how it works. I've just continued on as a parent. And one of the reasons is I do use this with students, but I don't use this with every student. So I actually have a couple of my students in Epic as my kids, like, because you can get up to 4 kids in a family. So I actually made them libraries. Um, but okay, so then we'll go to, this is not an ESL specific site. The materials um, are searchable by category and by the F&P level, so A through Z. And how I use it with my students is I display ebooks using the Zoom screen share, and that works pretty well. I will say, since they're ebooks, you can't really download any PDFs and share the PDFs per se. So if you're reading them in class, you can kind of read them in class and just use it as an in-class activity. Okay, so the highlights are there is a large collection of beginner nonfiction reading materials with clear photos, and they are great as a substitute for flashcards. So here's an example of how I have used Epic. Um, it's, to me, it's kind of confusing whether to use a standard ESL material with some of our students and or not to. Sometimes parents will come to us, and I've had a couple parents who sound like they're specifically steering me away from using a material. They'll introduce the whole um, situation to me by saying, "Oh, my son loves stories," or, here's some of his interests. And they seem to not want like necessarily a standard text. For a while, I had a couple students that I taught for, a length of time, several months, and I used a different text. Okay, it was English for Everyone Junior. Okay, that's not available on Epic. I got that on Amazon, but I kind of used the chapters in that book as they introduce vocabulary in that book. I would get a book from Epic, like a storybook from Epic. For example, like one of the first chapters in English for Everyone Junior is about school. Okay, well then if you go on Epic, there's some beginner nonfiction reading materials on school. So it reinforces the vocabulary. Um, English for Everyone is not really a reading text, so it does give them a little bit of reading to do. So that's just an example of how I've been using it. Um, Here's another tip: search for phonics. There are books for specific letter sounds. And I honestly think, as I'm reading this right now, it's giving me an idea. A parent recommended Oxford Phonics World, I think it's called. And I do have the book because the parent recommended it. They gave it to me. I downloaded it. I worked with that student using the book, and then I saved the book. So now I have another student who is specifically stating they want phonics. And I think for them, I'm going to use the Oxford Phonics World, but then I'm going to bring in some of these epic books to make it a little bit more interesting, or to just reinforce it. So we're not just repeating out of a textbook. We're using the phonics in some other formats as well. If you are trying to engage with the student around his or her interests, they probably have something at Epic. A lot of parents will say, well, my son likes this. Even older students, they seem to want you to have something lined up based on the student's interests, and not just a text that is going to teach them, but maybe won't engage them. There are some writing instructional materials. Okay, there's some how-to books on how to write opinion essays, how to write narratives, and I've had a lot of students in their messaging to me as they schedule their trial and so forth and decide whether or not to take lessons from me, that they want to deal with different aspects of writing. So they have some things for that. I also put down fables and classics. I know those are great teaching materials because they're kind of like universal stories. Most people know the grasshopper and the ant. So that definitely helps when you're learning the language to have something familiar, and they have plenty of those. Some books come with quizzes. This is an update from when I first started using this site way back several years ago. It's gotten a little bit more interactive. So instead of just ebooks, there's a quiz at the end of several of the books, maybe not all of them. And for example, if you go back to where I mentioned fables and classics, some of these are kind of designed for learning and not just, parents reading to their kids, but some of them have like some activities in the book, like some matching activities or put the pictures in order activities. Okay, so let's jump into the website and we'll take a look at, um, let's see. Well, this is an example of a book. I want to just kind of go to the front page. Okay, so this is Epic. Um, so there's a continue reading bar where it kind of shows what I've been looking at recently. So I used clouds recently. This is another example of how even if you're using another material, you can kind of use Epic as like a supportive material. Because I don't know if you guys know the Wonders. It's in Wonders. It's in Wonders Skills. It's Fern. Okay, Fern the bird. She flies up into the sky because she sees a cloud that looks like a boat. And a big part of the plot is she's falling through the clouds, okay? Because of course, clouds are made from water vapor, droplets of water. So you can't really sit on a cloud. But that's one of the issues I have is some of our students are so advanced at such a young age that they're doing these lessons at like 3 years old, 4 years old. And I'm like, do they even know like clouds are not cotton? They look like cotton, but do they know they're not? So anyway, so actually ended up reading this book on clouds with one of my students who was already in a curriculum. They were already in Wonders. But I just wanted to make sure she got it, and understood the whole concept of falling through a cloud. Anyway, and then I have another student whose parent did not suggest a curriculum. In fact, I was getting some suggestions that led me to believe she did not want a curriculum. She just wanted it to be a little bit more free because we do have young students and we do have students that do take English classes in school. So maybe the parents want us to step outside the box a little bit sometimes if their students are already in a curriculum somewhere else. So since she kind of phrased it to me that way, like I just want to make sure he's speaking was what she said. We've been doing community helpers and jobs, and we found a couple good books. That's another kind of cool thing that I did with him. I had some flashcards on another website, Twinkle, which I'll get to that one. And so we did some presentations on Twinkle about jobs and community helpers. Then we went on to Epic, and I just did the keyword search, community helpers. And then it just brings up so much. And then I think this is something the kids really enjoy. If you just do this and you just, either give them the control of the mouse or somehow they're still able. See, that's the thing. I do give kids control of the mouse. I don't know everything about Zoom. I've definitely learned a lot and I'm pretty, proficient in using it myself. But sometimes I don't know how the kids are able to do things, some of them, and some of them are not. I think it might have to do with their device, but some kids can just start drawing whether you give them control or not. But anyway, so then they just start, like circling things on here and they choose a book and it's like, okay, well, let's do that book. And, they're shorter books. So, that's if you have a 50-minute class with a student, you could do a material with them that their parent recommended or that you think is best for them. And then, they could, choose a book. And I mean, these are nonfiction, but you could pull up, a fiction category instead. And so I could tell my student really enjoyed picking out a book, because he, like I was like, I pulled up this community helpers search, and that's when he chose firefighters, and we read that book, and it was a lot of fun. So anyways, other things, as I mentioned, you can just search phonics. So let's do that now that we're in the search mode, phonics. Okay. So when you, and see, that's the thing, um, that I get a little frustrated about with Epic, because like seriously, every time you do a search, you get, if you find something, save it. Okay. Because I searched phonics earlier in the day, and when I did, something totally different came up. I mean, now I'm seeing it there, and this is the thing, it's just so overwhelming. But it's still worth it. Um, because you can see there are some sound specific. First of all, we got long vowels, love that. Short vowels, silent letters. I actually have some of these books. I have Crab Cab and Quack Shack. I didn't know there were other ones like Pig Wig and Frog Jog. Um, and so they definitely have books grouped by sound, Tad's Dad, and then they have some beginning sounds books. They had like a totally different publisher and series of beginning sounds books the last time I searched, which was 5 minutes ago. And you see, like, we're pretty much done with this search. There's nothing left. And then if you look in like my saved books, see, this is why you just kind of have to spend a little time with it. And it's, one of the things that's a bit frustrating. So let's see, we'll go to me, parent dashboard. Okay. And I have a totally different, see, I have this for a beginning sound book, this series, S Went Surfing, and Max in the Mall. So that was like an M book. So it can get a little messy, with the search. And then this collections button comes up, and it says open an audiobook, video, or quiz and tap on add the collection button. Okay, gotta be honest with you. I tried doing that earlier and I couldn't do it. Like, I didn't see the option when they said I should be seeing the option. But then if you go to my son, for example, um, okay, well, maybe he doesn't anymore. I was going to say at one point he had a collection. And I was like, well, how did he get a collection? Like, I don't, so that's the thing. I just have to be honest with you. Maybe other people are more tech savvy than I am, but that's been a little bit of not a frustration, but it's not so perfect. And I feel like I've noticed the same thing with Twinkle. And Twinkle is just a huge site. There's really nothing, that they don't have on Twinkle. And I'd love to do a review on them someday. I would say with Twinkle, speaking of Twinkle, that's if you are thinking of, a budget or planning a budget, for how much you're going to spend on materials, I don't know whether to say to you guys, choose Twinkle or Epic or not, because they are pretty different. Because I will say Twinkle has ebooks, but not like Epic does. And anyway, so that was phonics. Let's go ahead and search writing. In fact, I might have searched that one already. Whoop. I thought I might have searched it and had it up for us, but we'll go ahead and search it. Okay, so, and this is another one where I just searched writing, and so much came up when I searched it a few minutes ago, but it was something totally different. I mean, there's these instructional materials, and they had a different book on book reports, but that's fine. I mean, as long as you have a book on book reports, if that's what you want, it doesn't really necessarily, I guess, matter. Here we go. Yeah, this is what I saw earlier. I don't know what Geronimo Stilton is doing in here. As far as I know, like, that's not what I was searching for. So yeah, so searching is not terrible, but I guess with all these texts, it gets overwhelming, you know. But it's still worth it, you know. Um, and then let's see, let's do one more thing. Let's just do a search on anything so you can kind of see where you get to choose the level. Okay, so let's see, we'll search dogs. Okay. All right, so here we can go with age, we can go with reading level, fiction, nonfiction. And the reading level is this system. Oh, I guess they have other leveling systems. I didn't know that. I'm so used to just choosing. I didn't even see that. I really feel like they're changing a lot. So I guess you can do Lexile if you want to do Lexile instead. And then let's see, we'll go back to home. Okay. And I think, let me just look quickly because I thought in my continue reading I mean, we can still just search for a fable. Um, yeah, here we go. So, I mean, you can always just search for, search under fables, search under the name of a fable, like the Lion and the Mouse. So if you're looking to plan a lesson, I know these fables that have familiar stories are kind of great go-tos. Besides the nonfiction, you can do some fiction with a fable. Sometimes it's easier to learn when you at least have like some kind of idea of what the story is. Most people know this story, so it'll be easier for them to make the connection. And this is one where at the end they do have some activities. So look, puzzle time, put these pictures in the right order and tell the story. So that might be like a fun prompt to get your student demonstrating, producing some sentences about the story and, talking about it. Okay, so this is what might happen if I put finish the book. Okay, all right, so they are letting us take the quiz. Sometimes if you rush through the book, they'll say, go back and spend more time in the book or something. Uh-oh. So I talked too much and now the quiz is gone. Okay, so we'll try that again. Sorry. I guess I'm just like talking way too much in general. Okay. So we'll take a look at the quiz. Okay. So start the quiz. So this is nice because it does have little interactive, pieces like the little flag comes up. Um, you know, and it's, it's just like fun. It just adds a little bit to the reading experience. And when you get to the end, there's like a little trophy pops up and some confetti. And it's a lot of fun. And that's the thing. Okay, so there's a lot of fables popping up now, but earlier when I searched for fables, it brought up like a handful of things and the reading level was too high for, what we would use typically in a class. So anyway, there we go. Let me think, is there anything I missed when I was giving you a rundown of Epic? I don't think so. I mean, just of course, I showed a lot of beginner texts and beginner books, and they go all the way up to level Z. Um, I don't really have a student that I have read a level Z book with in Epic. I think, those are like they do ebooks, so we're talking about novels at that point that are a little bit longer. So usually with my higher level students, I might do like an article from ReadWorks or even an article from The Guardian on One Stop English. If it's like something that a child can relate to, who it's definitely at the right level for like an advanced child. All right, you guys. Well, this has been epic. Hopefully, you guys can use this information. And I just want to tell everybody, happy Friday, happy teaching, enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye for now.